Hi and welcome back to Reddit Whispers. It all feels like a blur, a chaotic, sharp-edged nightmare that I can't seem to wake up from. Just a little over a week ago, my world had a semblance of order. It had shape, it had meaning. Now it's just fragments, shards of what used to be, and I'm standing in the middle of the wreckage, barefoot and bleeding. 5 years. That's how long she and I were together. 5 years isn't a fleeting moment, it's an epoch in a young life. It's enough time to build a history, a universe of inside jokes, shared dreams, and quiet understandings. We had our ups and downs, of course, like any other couple. There were arguments that felt like the end of the world and reconciliations that felt like a rebirth. We navigated financial struggles, family drama, and the simple, grinding pressure of growing up. But through it all, there was this unspoken certainty that we were a team, that we were navigating this messy thing called life together. She was more than just my girlfriend. She was my best friend, the repository of all my secrets, the one person who understood the silent language of my moods. The thought of facing a day without her was inconceivable, a hypothetical so painful I never allowed my mind to linger on it. And then there was my friend, my brother, 18 years old. He was just a kid, really, with a future that stretched out before him like an endless summer highway. He was coming home from work, probably tired, probably thinking about what he was going to do that weekend. And then, in an instant of screeching tires and shattering glass, it was all over. A head-on collision. The impact stole him from us, from his family, from a world that was just beginning to open up to him. The day before he died, we were playing basketball. The sun was warm on our skin, and the sound of the ball hitting the pavement was the rhythm of our youth. We were laughing, talking trash, just being kids. There was no premonition, no dark cloud on the horizon. It was just another ordinary day, the kind you take for granted until you can't have them anymore. The funeral was a suffocating affair. The air was thick with the scent of lilies and sorrow. Seeing his parents, their faces etched with a grief so profound it seemed to bend the very air around them, was a pain I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I stood there in my ill-fitting suit, a hollowed-out version of myself, trying to process the finality of it all. This vibrant, life-loving friend was gone, reduced to a collection of memories in a polished wooden box. The grief was a physical weight, pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe, hard to think. After the service, as people milled around, offering empty platitudes and awkward hugs, my phone buzzed. It was a text from a friend, a spontaneous suggestion to go to the beach. In that moment, it felt like a lifeline. The thought of escaping the oppressive atmosphere of mourning, even for a little while, was an irresistible pull. The problem was I was broke. Funerals are expensive, and life hadn't exactly been showering me with financial blessings. But my parents, seeing the despair in my eyes, didn't hesitate. They pressed some money into my hand and told me to go, to have fun, to try and find a moment of peace in the midst of the storm. They understood that sometimes the only way to deal with overwhelming pain is to run from it, even for a weekend. So I went. I packed a bag with a few essentials and drove towards the coast, the hum of the engine a dull counterpoint to the turmoil in my mind. As I left, she and I exchanged the usual pleasantries. She asked me to drive safe, to let her know when I got there. There was no hint of anything amiss, no crack in the facade of our relationship. She was the concerned girlfriend, the supportive partner, and I was the grieving friend, seeking solace in the roar of the ocean. Little did I know that as I was driving away, she was making plans of her own. As soon as I was out of the state, she went to a bar. Not just any bar and not with just any friend. She went to meet him, the other guy. The one she'd been talking to behind my back for what I now realize was probably a year. A whole year of whispered conversations, secret texts, and a hidden life that ran parallel to ours. A year of lies, of deception, of a betrayal so profound it makes my head spin. While I was at the beach, trying to come to terms with the death of my friend, she was with him. The weekend was a blur of salt-laced air and the rhythmic crash of waves. I tried to lose myself in the vastness of the ocean, to let the sound of the surf wash away the pain. But grief is a relentless companion. It followed me to the shore, sat with me on the sand, and whispered his name on the wind. Still, there were moments of respite, moments when the beauty of the world broke through the fog of my sorrow. I thought of her, of course. I missed her. I wished she was there with me to hold my hand, to be my anchor in the storm. I sent her texts, telling her I was thinking of her, that I loved her. She responded in kind, her messages a masterclass in deception. She played the part of the loving girlfriend with an unnerving perfection, asking if I was okay, if the trip was helping. She acted like everything was fine, like our world wasn't about to be torn apart at the seams. I came back from the trip feeling a little lighter, a little more human. The grief was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but the sharp edges had been softened by the sea and the sun. The first thing I did was go to her. I needed her comfort, her presence. We hung out, we talked, and we had sex. In that moment, it felt like a reunion, a reaffirmation of our bond. I was so naive, so blissfully unaware of the chasm that had opened up between us. I didn't know that the whole time I was at the beach, she had been with him. She had been having sex with him. The thought of it now makes me physically ill. To think that she could look me in the eyes, touch me, and make love to me, all while carrying the secret of her betrayal, is a level of duplicity I can't comprehend. She didn't tell me then. She wanted to have sex one last time, she said later. One last time to what? To savor the taste of her deception. To add another layer to her web of lies. The truth, when it finally came out, wasn't a gentle revelation. It was a violent explosion, a bombshell that detonated in the middle of our lives, leaving nothing but scorched earth in its wake. It started with a fight, a stupid, insignificant argument about something I can't even remember now. But it escalated quickly, fueled by an undercurrent of tension that I hadn't been able to name until then. And then, in the heat of the moment, the words spilled out, a torrent of confession and accusation. She told me about him, about the bar, about the weekend. She told me everything. And as she spoke, I felt the ground give way beneath my feet. The woman I had loved and trusted for 5 years was a stranger. The life we had built together was a lie. The pain was immediate and all-consuming. It was a physical sensation, a white-hot agony that ripped through my chest. I felt like I couldn't breathe, like my lungs were collapsing. The grief for my friend, which I had been trying so hard to manage, came roaring back, merging with this new, raw pain of betrayal. It was a double blow, a 1-2 punch that left me reeling. I had lost a good friend and my best friend on the same day. One to a tragic accident, the other to a choice, a conscious decision to shatter my world. It's only been about a week since that day, a week that has felt like a lifetime. The hours stretch out before me, empty and meaningless. I don't know what to do, where to go from here. The two pillars of my life, the two people I leaned on the most, are gone. I feel adrift, lost in a sea of grief and anger and confusion. The betrayal has tainted everything, every memory, every shared moment. I look back on our 5 years together and I see them through a new lens, a lens of suspicion and doubt. Were there other lies, other men? Was any of it real? The questions haunt me, circling in my mind like vultures. I try to sleep, but my dreams are filled with images of her with him, of my friend's smiling face, of the wreckage of the car. I wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding, the loneliness of my empty bed a stark reminder of everything I've lost. The world outside keeps moving, people go to work, cars drive by, the sun rises and sets. But my world has stopped. I'm trapped in this moment of unbearable pain, unable to move forward, unable to go back. Everything feels tainted, spoiled. The songs we used to love now sound like a cruel joke. The places we used to go are now haunted by ghosts of a life that no longer exists. Even the simple act of eating feels like a chore. Food has no taste, and my stomach is in a constant state of turmoil. I've lost weight, I'm not sleeping, and I feel like I'm running on empty. My friends and family have been supportive, but there's a limit to what they can do. They can offer a shoulder to cry on, a sympathetic ear, but they can't take away the pain. They can't undo what has been done. They can't bring my friend back, and they can't erase the betrayal. I find myself replaying that last day with my friend over and over in my head. I scrutinize every word, every gesture, searching for some sign, some clue that it would be the last time I would see him. But there's nothing. Just a normal day, a snapshot of a life cut short. And then I think about her, about the 5 years we spent together. I try to pinpoint the moment when things started to go wrong, the moment she started to drift away from me. But it's all a blur of happy memories and shared laughter, now overshadowed by the darkness of her betrayal. I feel like I'm drowning in a sea of what-ifs. What if I had stayed home that weekend? What if I had been a better boyfriend? What if my friend hadn't gotten in that car? The questions are a form of self-torture, a way to try and make sense of the senseless. But there are no answers, no easy explanations. Just the harsh, cold reality of loss. The anger is a constant companion, a burning fire in my gut. I'm angry at the driver who took my friend's life. I'm angry at her for her betrayal, for her selfishness, for her cowardice. I'm angry at myself for being so blind, so trusting. I'm angry at the world for its unfairness, for its cruelty. Sometimes the anger is so intense it feels like it's going to consume me. I want to scream, to punch something, to break something. But I know that won't change anything. It won't bring him back and it won't heal my broken heart. And then there's the sadness, a deep, bone-aching sadness that feels like it's settling into my very soul. It's a quiet, insidious thing that creeps up on me when I least expect it. I'll be driving or watching TV or just staring at the ceiling, and then a memory will hit me, a wave of grief that leaves me gasping for air. The future, which once seemed so full of promise, now feels like a vast, empty expanse. The plans we had made, the dreams we had shared, have all turned to dust. I can't imagine a future without him, without her. I can't imagine trusting someone again, opening myself up to that kind of pain. I feel like a part of me has died, the part that believed in love, in loyalty, in forever. It's been replaced by a cynical, guarded version of myself, a person I don't even recognize. I know I need to find a way to move on, to rebuild my life from the ashes. But right now, that feels like an impossible task. The pain is too raw, the wounds are too deep. It's only been a week and I don't know what to do. The silence in my apartment is deafening. It used to be filled with our laughter, our conversations, the sound of the TV, the music we both loved. Now it's just me and the ghosts of my past. I find myself talking to him sometimes, to my friend. I tell him about my day, about the pain I'm in. It's a one-sided conversation, of course, but it's a small comfort in the vastness of my loneliness. I look at her pictures and I see a stranger. I can't reconcile the woman in those photos, the woman I loved, with the person who could betray me so cruelly. It's like there are two different versions of her, and I'm left to grapple with the wreckage of both. I know that time is supposed to heal all wounds, but right now, that feels like a lie. The wound is too deep, too gaping. I don't know how I'll ever be whole again. I'm lost and I'm scared and I don't know what to do. The days just bleed into one another, a monotonous cycle of waking up to the same crushing reality. Mornings are the worst. For a fleeting moment, as I hover in the space between sleep and consciousness, I forget. I forget that he's gone, that she's a liar, that my life is in shambles. And then it all comes rushing back, a tidal wave of pain that threatens to pull me under. I force myself out of bed, go through the motions of a day that feels utterly pointless. I try to eat, but the food tastes like cardboard. I try to watch TV, but the stories on the screen feel like a cruel mockery of my own shattered narrative. The world outside my window seems to be mocking me too, with its sunshine and its birdsong and its couples holding hands. I feel like a ghost, haunting the edges of a world that I no longer belong to. I replay our last conversation, hers and mine, over and over in my head. It was on the phone after the big fight. I was still trying to fix things, to salvage something from the wreckage. I was pleading, bargaining, trying to understand how we had gotten to this point. And that's when she dropped the final bombshell. She told me that she had met up with him after I left for the beach, that he had been waiting for her. That this wasn't a spontaneous mistake, but a calculated act of betrayal. That she had chosen him over me, over our 5 years together. That was the moment the last glimmer of hope died. That was the moment I truly understood that it was over, that there was no going back. I had lost a good friend and my best friend in the same week. The weight of that realization is a crushing burden. It's a grief so profound, so all-encompassing, that it feels like it's rewriting my DNA. I am no longer the person I was a week ago. I'm a collection of broken pieces, a walking wound. My friends call, they text, they try to pull me out of the darkness. They invite me to hang out, to go for a drink, to do something, anything to distract myself. And I appreciate their efforts, I really do. But I can't. I can't be around people, I can't pretend to be okay. The effort of putting on a brave face is too exhausting. So I isolate myself, I retreat into the silence of my apartment, where the only company I have are my thoughts. And my thoughts are not kind. They are a relentless barrage of self-recrimination and despair. I question everything I ever did, every decision I ever made. Was I not enough? Was I not a good enough boyfriend? What did he have that I did? The questions are a poison, seeping into every corner of my mind. I know on some rational level that this isn't my fault. Her betrayal is a reflection of her own character, not a measure of my worth. But in the dark, lonely hours of the night, that rational voice is drowned out by the chorus of self-doubt. I see them everywhere in my mind's eye. Her and him, laughing, touching, sharing secrets. The images are a form of torture, a constant reminder of my pain. I try to push them away to focus on something else, but they are relentless. They are burned into my memory, a permanent scar on my psyche. And then there are the memories of my friend. The good memories, the ones that used to bring me so much joy, are now tinged with a deep, aching sadness. I remember our childhood adventures, our teenage misadventures, our dreams for the future. We were supposed to grow old together, to be each other's best men at our weddings, to watch our kids grow up together. All of that is gone now, stolen by a senseless accident. The injustice of it all is a bitter pill to swallow. He was a good person, a kind and generous soul who didn't deserve to die so young. And she was the person I trusted with my whole heart, the person I thought would be by my side forever. The betrayal feels like a second death, a second loss that I have to endure. I feel like I'm trapped in a nightmare and I can't wake up. The days are long and empty. The nights are longer and lonelier. I don't know how to navigate this new reality, this world without them. I don't know how to be me without them. The future, which once seemed so bright and full of possibilities, is now a terrifying blank canvas. I can't see a way forward. I can't imagine a day when this pain won't be the defining feature of my existence. I am broken, and I don't know if I can ever be put back together again. The world feels muted, like the volume has been turned down on everything. Colors are less vibrant, sounds are less clear, emotions are a chaotic jumble of grief and anger. I feel disconnected from everything and everyone, like I'm watching my life unfold from a distance, a spectator in my own tragedy. The small, everyday things that used to bring me pleasure are now meaningless. A good cup of coffee, a beautiful sunset, my favorite song, they all fall flat, unable to penetrate the thick fog of my despair. I find myself staring into space for long periods of time, my mind a blank slate, too numb to even think. It's a strange sort of limbo, this place between feeling everything and feeling nothing at all. The waves of grief are unpredictable. One moment I'll be numb, detached, and the next I'll be sobbing uncontrollably, the pain so intense it feels like it's going to tear me apart. There's no rhyme or reason to it, no warning. It just happens, leaving me feeling drained and empty in its wake. I've tried to find distractions, to lose myself in movies or books or video games, but my mind won't cooperate. It keeps wandering back to the same dark places, replaying the same painful memories. It's a relentless cycle of grief and recrimination, and I can't seem to break free. I've thought about seeking professional help, about talking to a therapist, but the idea of opening up to a stranger, of laying bare all my pain and vulnerability, is daunting. I'm not sure I have the strength for it. I'm not sure I'm ready to confront the full extent of my brokenness. And so I continue to drift, to exist in this state of suspended animation. I go to work, I interact with people, I pretend to be a functioning member of society. But it's all a performance, a carefully constructed facade to hide the emptiness inside. I feel like I'm living a double life. There's the person I present to the world, the one who is stoic and composed, and then there's the person I am when I'm alone, the one who is shattered and lost. The disconnect is jarring and it's taking its toll on me. I'm exhausted both physically and emotionally. The weight of my grief is a constant burden and I'm not sure how much longer I can carry it. I long for a moment of peace, a moment of respite from the constant turmoil in my mind. But peace feels like a distant, unattainable dream. I am haunted by the ghost of what could have been. I see a future that will never be, a life that was stolen from me. I see a world where my friend is still alive, where she is still my loyal and loving partner. and the contrast between that world and my current reality is a source of unbearable pain. I know that I can't live in the past, that I have to find a way to move forward, but I don't know how. The path ahead is shrouded in darkness, and I'm afraid to take a single step. I am lost, and I am alone, and I don't know what to do. The silence in my apartment has become a character in this tragedy, a constant, oppressive presence. It amplifies the emptiness, magnifies the loneliness. I've tried filling it with noise, with music, with the mindless chatter of the television, but the silence always seeps back in, a cold and unwelcome guest. It's in the quiet moments that the memories are the most vivid, the pain the most acute. I see his face, I hear her voice, and the grief washes over me in a fresh wave of agony. I've started to avoid the places we used to go, the things we used to do. The park where we played basketball, the restaurant where we had our first date, the hiking trail we loved to explore, they're all off limits now, too laden with the ghosts of a happier time. But you can't outrun your memories. They follow you, they haunt you, they ambush you when you least expect it. A song on the radio, a scent in the air, a random word, anything can trigger a memory, and then I'm right back in the thick of it, reliving the pain all over again. I've become a master of avoidance, a recluse in my own life. I screen my calls, I ignore my texts, I make excuses to get out of social gatherings. The thought of having to explain what happened, of having to talk about it, is more than I can bear. I'm not ready to share my story, to expose my wounds to the world. And so I retreat further into myself, into the cold comfort of my solitude. It's a lonely existence, but it's the only one I can handle right now. I've lost my appetite for life, for connection, for anything that requires me to feel. Numbness is my shield, my defense against a world that has proven to be cruel and unpredictable. I know this isn't healthy, that I can't stay in this state of emotional hibernation forever. But I don't know how to re-engage, how to let the world back in. I've built a wall around my heart, a fortress of pain and distrust, and I'm not sure I know how to tear it down. The future is a terrifying concept, a blank page that I have no idea how to fill. The dreams I once had, the plans I had made, have all been shattered. I feel like I'm starting from scratch, with a broken compass and a map that leads nowhere. I'm at a crossroads in my life, but I can't see the road ahead. All I see is the wreckage of my past, a rearview mirror filled with loss and betrayal. I know I need to find a new direction, a new purpose, but I don't know where to begin. The thought of starting over, of building a new life from the ashes of my old one, is overwhelming. I don't know if I have the strength for it, the resilience. I feel like I've been hollowed out, that all the fight has been drained out of me. I am a ship without a rudder, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. I am lost, and I am scared, and I don't know what to do. I've started to write things down, to pour all my pain and confusion onto the page. It's a small thing, but it helps. It gives me a sense of control, a way to organize the chaos in my mind. I write about him, about her, about the 5 years we had and the future we lost. I write about the anger, the sadness, the emptiness. I write until my hand aches and the tears blur the words on the page. It's not a cure, but it's a release. It's a way to externalize the pain, to get it out of my head and onto the paper. It's a small step, but it's a step in the right direction. I know that the road to healing is a long one, and I'm only at the beginning. There will be good days and bad days, moments of hope and moments of despair. But I have to believe that I can get through this, that I can find a way to live again. I owe it to my friend, to the memory of the vibrant, life-loving person he was. He wouldn't want me to give up, to let this tragedy define me. He would want me to live my life to the fullest, to find happiness again. And I owe it to myself. I deserve to be happy, to find love again, to build a life that is filled with joy and purpose. I may be broken now, but I don't have to be broken forever. I can pick up the pieces, I can glue them back together, and I can create something new, something stronger. It won't be the same as it was before, but it can still be beautiful. I am a survivor, and I will not be defeated. I will find my way out of this darkness, and I will find my way back to the light. It's only been a week, and I don't know what to do. But I know that I have to keep going, one day at a time, one step at a time. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough for now. The nights are the hardest. The darkness brings a different kind of loneliness, a deeper, more profound sense of isolation. The distractions of the day fade away, and I'm left with nothing but my thoughts and the deafening silence of my empty apartment. I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind a relentless carousel of painful memories. I see her face, I hear his laughter, and the grief is a physical weight on my chest, making it hard to breathe. Sleep is a fickle friend, offering only a temporary escape. And even then, my dreams are often a continuation of my waking nightmare. I dream of car crashes and funerals, of arguments and betrayals. I wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding, the relief of waking up quickly replaced by the crushing reality of my situation. I've started to dread the night, to fear the long, dark hours that stretch out before me. I've tried everything to make them more bearable, reading, listening to music, watching movies until my eyes burn, but nothing seems to work. The loneliness is a persistent, gnawing ache that I can't seem to shake. I miss her, the her I thought I knew. I miss her presence, her touch, her voice. I miss the easy comfort of our shared life, the quiet intimacy of our relationship. I miss having someone to share my day with, to tell my stories to laugh with, to cry with. The loss of that companionship is a gaping hole in my life, a void that I don't know how to fill. And then there's the anger. It's a slow-burning fire that never quite goes out. It's a righteous anger, a justified anger, but it's also an exhausting anger. It consumes so much of my energy, leaving me feeling drained and depleted. I'm angry at her for her betrayal, for her selfishness, for her cowardice. I'm angry at him, the other guy, for his part in this. I'm angry at myself for being so naive, so trusting, so blind. And I'm angry at the world for its casual cruelty, for the way it can shatter a life in an instant. I know that holding on to this anger is not healthy, that it's only poisoning me from the inside out. But I don't know how to let it go. It's a shield, a way to protect myself from the overwhelming sadness that lies just beneath the surface. If I let go of the anger, I'm afraid I'll drown in the grief. I've started to question everything I thought I knew about love, about relationships, about trust. How can you ever really know someone? How can you ever be sure that they won't betray you, that they won't break your heart? The experience has left me with a deep-seated cynicism, a distrust of others that I'm not sure I'll ever be able to overcome. The thought of opening myself up to someone again, of making myself vulnerable, is terrifying. I've built a wall around my heart, a fortress of pain and suspicion, and I'm not sure I'm ready to let anyone in. I know that I can't live my life in isolation, that I need connection, that I need love. But I don't know how to get there from here. The path to trusting again seems long and arduous, and I'm not sure I have the strength for the journey. I feel like I'm stuck in a loop, reliving the same painful moments over and over again. The funeral, the beach trip, the fight, the confession, it's a movie that plays on a continuous loop in my mind, a horror film that I can't turn off. I try to focus on the future, to imagine a life beyond this pain. But it's hard to see past the wreckage of my present. The future feels like a distant, abstract concept, a place that I may never reach. I'm just trying to get through each day, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time. It's a slow, painstaking process, and there are days when I feel like I'm not making any progress at all. But I have to believe that it will get better. That time will eventually dull the sharp edges of my pain. I have to believe that I will find a way to heal, to rebuild, to move on. I have to believe that there is still hope for me, that there is still a chance for happiness. It's the only thing that keeps me going, the only thing that gets me out of bed in the morning. Hope is a fragile, flickering flame in the darkness of my despair, but it's a flame that I'm determined to keep alive. I know that I'm not alone in my pain, that there are others who have gone through similar experiences, who have known the depths of grief and betrayal. And that thought, that sense of shared humanity, is a small comfort. It reminds me that I'm not crazy, that my feelings are valid, that I'm not the only one who has ever felt this way. It gives me a sense of perspective, a sense that this is not the end of my story, but a new, albeit painful chapter. I will get through this. I will survive. And I will be stronger for it. I will not let this experience define me. I will not let it break me. I will rise from the ashes, and I will build a new life for myself, a life that is filled with love and joy and peace. It won't be easy, but I'm ready to fight for it. I'm ready to fight for my future, for my happiness, for myself. And I know that I will win. Thank you for listening to my story here on Reddit Whispers. Now I want to hear from you. What's the most unexpected life-changing decision you've ever made when everything seemed to fall apart? Share your thoughts in a comment section, because you never know, you might be the one that someone else needs to hear today.